Good evening, race fans. I'm your host, Caden Reif, and welcome back to the 2009 season of the NASCAR Coca-Cola Cup Series. We're here from Vegas to begin the West Coast swing with race number 9 of 36 of the season. It's the UAW Dodge 400 from the cookie cutter Las Vegas, here today for the first time in the daytime at the newly reconfigured Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Here down in Sin City here today for race number 9 as we take you to the racetrack for your starting lineup in today's race. Carl Edwards in the number 19, always a professional on these racetracks. He starts on pole, and to his outside is Ricky Hendrick looking for a strong run to boost his rough start to the 2009 campaign. He will be your outside pole sitter. Third place is Jay McMurray in the 40, another driver in need of a strong run. It's a strong qualifying for him today, and his teammate Kurt Busch, top 10 in the standings, starts in the 4th position to his outside. Marcos Ambrose continuing his slow climb up the table. He's 5th. 6th goes to Clint Boyer in the number 4. 7th is DJ Kennington in the E81 car, and 8th is going to be AJ Allmendinger. 9th place, that's going to be Kevin Harvick in the 20 with Jimmy Johnson in 10th. 11th goes to Todd Cleaver in the 98, and Tony Stewart is in 12th. 13th is going to be Denny Hamlin with Juan Pablo Montoya in the 14th position. 15th place goes to Brad Coleman in the 6th, and Casey Kane will start this race in 16th place. 17th is Rogelio Lopez, a row behind his teammate. 18th, Stephen Light in the 18 car. 19th is Robbie Gordon in the 13, and Kyle Busch in the 43. He rounds out the top 20. Matt Kenseth starts this race from 21st with Jeff Gordon, your defending champion, in 22nd place. Shane Meal is 23rd. Joey Logano for Germain's number 7. He's 24th. Greg Biffle starts this race 25th place. 26 is going to be TJ Bell for Jasper. Boris Said is in 27th. To his outside is Scott Wimmer in the 04. Justin Allgaier, the rookie, in 29th. 30th goes to Elliott Sadler. Casey Mears will be in 31st, side-by-side with his teammate Ryan Newman, who's in 32nd. 33rd is Brad Keselowski with J.J. Yaley in 34th. Colin Brown making his Cup Series debut today. He's in 35th. Dale Earnhardt Jr. will be in the 36th position. 37th goes to Jason Leffler with Jeremy Mayfield making the swap to competitive edge. He's in the 51 today, 38th. Justin Labonte is in 39th, and Reed Sorensen is in 40th. David Reagan 41st with Travis Kvapil in 42nd, and 43rd rounding out the field. That'll be Dexter Bean for Blackjack Racing in the 15 car. 43 car field, as always, here tonight from Vegas. We take you trackside for the most famous words in motorsports. It's the Command here for the UAW Dodge 400.
Drivers, start your engines!
Field comes to life as we get set to roll. 134 lapper here tonight from Vegas as Carl Edwards in the number 19 car is going to lead us off the starting grid. Couple of changes to the Cup Series garage following last week at Talladega. Of course, Colin Brown replacing the released Scott Steckley in the 23 car. A big buyout of Petty Enterprises. That's now Richard Petty Motorsports, and down to just one car in the Cup Series as Kyle Busch will pilot the 43. Jeremy Mayfield, he swaps over to fellow Dodge team Competitive Edge to drive the 51. There are a lot of changes coming into today at Vegas, and sure to be a fun one here today. First time we've raced at the new and higher banked Las Vegas Motor Speedway under the sunlight, so expect a little bit less grip than the last time we were at this racetrack.
Yeah, and we had seen in the Grand National race yesterday, still fairly difficult to pass on once you find your bearings and you get in that single file line as the run goes forward. So your money's going to be made right here on this initial start, and then any other after it. If you get some restarts in this race, you're going to be making up 90% of your spots on these restarts. You got to make sure that you get up on the wheel here early.
Biggest thing these drivers talked about was how slick the racing surface, this newly freshly paved surface over the last year, was under the sunlight in practice leading up to today's race. Edwards and Ricky Hendrick, 1902 front row. Green flag is in the air. We're underway here from Las Vegas. Nearly a crash already at the front of the field as Edwards and McMurray getting into it for first. The 40 tried once, then twice to take over the lead on the opening lap. Wasn't enough to get the 19. Carl Edwards holds on to the top spot as McMurray pulls into the second position. Third is now DJ Kennington, your points leader in the 81 car.
Yeah, and it was very big for Edwards to hold strong on the outside to keep the lead there because, as we said, hard to pass to the lead as the runs go forward. And Edwards so good at these types of racetracks, him being able to set the pace early is exactly what he wants to do.
Kennington, his teammate, looking for the second position, and another teammate behind that. That's Kevin Harvick's number 20 with a strong start to this race. He's in fourth as McMurray ends up on the wrong end of history in turns 1 and 2. Harvick trying to get past him. Kennington dispatches of the 40 quickly. He's to the runner-up spot as Harvick still side by side with this Sharpie Ford 4P3. Clint Boyer, Jimmy Johnson also with strong starts to this race from their good qualifying positions. Marcos Ambrose in the 5, a good beginning to the race as well as we are comfortably underway now. Lap number 4 as McMurray is victim of our first big freight train at the front of the field to start this race. He's still stuck on the outside fighting with the 5 as Ambrose looks to take away another position. That'll be P6. Two Ganassi teammates behind McMurray as all three of the Ganassi cars are together on the racetrack now. That's Tony Stewart's 42 and Kurt Busch in the 01. Stewart, a driver who has climbed the table the last couple of races in the standings, ran well the last couple of weeks, looking to continue to build on the momentum he's had into the top 5 in the championship standings in today's race. And he moves into a top 10 position early in the going here in this one. Early lead belonging to Carl Edwards from the pole. Behind him is his teammate Kennington, who has been on fire to start the 2009 Cup Series season. Little bit of a championship slump last year for Kennington, and even then, that's a bit of an overstatement as the 81 car kind of still won a couple of races last year, had a competitive season in what was overall just kind of a down year for Joe Gibbs as a whole, but that is not the case here in this campaign, as Kennington has had a winning speed pretty much every single week so far this year. And today, no different here at the Intermediate of Vegas, and it is a 1-2-3 for Joe Gibbs. Under 10 laps into it, of course, but the 1981 and 20 all showing some early speed. That was Clint Boyer in the 4, fighting with Harvick for the 3rd position, and Jimmy Johnson rounds out the top 5.
Side-by-side battle for 3rd raging on as Boyer looking to grab that 3rd spot to go in pursuit of these two Gibbs cars. Boyer will get the spot and Johnson soon to follow.
48.
Boyer trying to scamper away here.
Had to take a little bit of extra time getting around Harvick there as he was side-by-side for an extra set of corners. As 48, who took the win at the last mile and a half, we visit back across the seas in Japan at Motegi on fuel mileage. Was one of the faster cars that race, but bested Robbie Gordon thanks to the fuel. And the car right in front of him was the 2nd place finisher that race. That's Clint Boyer, who has been off to yet another hot start this season. Has shown pace pretty much week in, week out. A little bit of bad luck here and there for the 4 team, but once again finds himself at the top of the table here tonight, and it is just the continuation of such a strong start to this kid's career.
And I mean, we talked him up so much last season for good reason, but he's been just as good. And this season as well, that 4 car has been seen at the front on numerous occasions. And while he hasn't won yet, this Morgan McClure team has been better than the parent team at Red Bull. And I think Clint Boyer is a lot of the reason for that. Just starting to gain a lot of valuable experience racing at the front. And Red Bull has a lot of young drivers now anchored by, you know, the old guard with Matt Kenseth, but Boyer's starting to become a veteran himself despite being a young man. This, I believe, is his either 3rd or his 4th season. So certainly no slouch behind the wheel, Clint Boyer, and somebody that just performs at such a high level, especially at these intermediates.
And he's off to another hot start here in this one as he continues his 2009 campaign on the right foot. Two Gibbs teammates still bumper to bumper for the lead. That is Carl Edwards leading his teammate DJ Kennington, who's been knocking on the door for this lead the last couple of laps. And this time down into turn 3, he's going to take it all the way to the bottom, side by side between the 19 and the 81. And for the first time in this race, new leader DJ Kennington, and don't look now, Boyer's going to follow him through on the bottom for second. Johnson through into third as well. We see that freight train on that inside line that we didn't really see last time we went to this racing facility under the lights in Vegas last season. That inside working a little bit better with the less grip that these guys have talked about in this weekend. And there you see Edwards drop all the way down to fourth after getting stuck on the top. But a good recovery. He pulls up to the back bumper of Jimmy Johnson, but nowhere to put the nose just yet. Top 4 are still under a blanket. Behind that, it's Tony Stewart in 5th, Kurt Busch 6th, Ambrose 7th, Coleman 8th, McMurray still in the top 10, he's 9th, and Robbie Gordon's number 13 rounds out the top 10. McMurray continuing to slowly lose positions over this green run to start this race. And you take a look at your championship standings. Of course, it is early. We haven't even made it a third of the way into the season just yet, but here in race number 8. Kennington, of course, has been the early points leader for a lot of this season. Tony Stewart is in third, as we mentioned, has gained a lot of ground, but it is this 13 of Robbie Gordon who has looked a lot more like his 2006 championship self. And, of course, 2008 was a great year for him, his last with Childress. Very narrowly losing out that championship to the 24 of Jeff Gordon, but the 13 has started this season hot, and with his new organization in Gin Innovative has put himself right back into the crux of another championship battle to start the 2009 season. And no signs of age here for Robbie Gordon as he sits just 9 points behind DJ Kennington entering today's race. Battle for the lead starting to heat up a little bit again as Clint Boyer closing in on the 81 of Kennington for the lead. We've seen, of course, it takes a couple of laps to try and figure a move out. It is hard to get the lead at this racetrack as the 77 of TJ Bell is in pit road and has a lot of damage on the left rear corner of his car that I believe he sustained probably from the opening laps of this race, and it was on lap 2, it looks like. So we're going to get a look back at Bell, who came in for what I believe was a tire rub on that left rear corner. Stuck on the outside on the start of this race. This is on lap 2 down the backstretch. He's got the 04 right behind him. And looks like a move to the middle of 3 wide by the 04. Ooh, and it was actually Bell who checked up a little bit, got a little tight, no time for Scott Wimmer to react to the 77 who checked up in the middle of the racetrack, and not quite a lot of damage on the right front of the 04, but definitely a lot on the left rear of TJ Bell. So he drops a lap down and rejoins the racetrack after that damage repair pit stop, unscheduled, but the racetrack stayed green. Of course, that was a long time ago, and those guys all kept it together. But not to the start to this race that Bell would have been looking for the 77 team, who has not had the start to this 2009 season they were hoping for. As we continue, 20 laps completed this time by for the leader DJ Kennington as he takes the field out of turn number 4. Still the top 4 all under a blanket here. It's Kennington, Boyer, Edwards, and then Jimmy Johnson. Of course, Tony Stewart not too far behind in 5th. He is about a second and a half off of our top 4. Boyer closing closed in on Kennington, but had to come out of the throttle just a little bit in the wake out of turn 2 that time. Still just trying to find a way around this leader, but Kennington putting some early dominance down here in Vegas. These two Gibbs teammates, Kennington and Edwards, who have been the only two leaders of this race so far, still in the top 3. Really rough start for McMurray, who has already dropped down to the 25th position since the start of this race. Not a whole lot better for Ricky Hendrick, who's gone nowhere since the start. But still, Kennington the comfortable lead. See the field, of course, spread out quite a lot. First 20 laps into this race. One thing that these drivers are expecting from this racetrack, on top of the fact that there hasn't been a lot of grip, is a little bit of an elevated tire wear problem for them on this racing surface here today. Of course, less grip means more sliding, means more tire wear. A lot of battling in the midfield around 20th to 30th. See a couple of cars side by side. Jason Leffler, who's trying to recover from a slow qualifying. Dale Jr., another one back there as well. Brad Keselowski and the two rookie teammates for Red Bull, Justin Allgaier and AJ Allmendinger. Greg Biffle not off to a so-hot start there. You see McMurray, who had dropped backwards quite a long way since the start. Same for Ricky Hendrick. Jeff Gordon, who is not having the race weekend he would have hoped for so far. He's outside the top 20 at the moment. But slowly closing in on what should be our first pit stop not too terribly long from now. Battle for the top couple of spots heating up. Here comes Carl Edwards on the bottom versus Clint Boyer for P2. Boyer, a nice drive in on the outside, able to keep the 19 at bay. Retains P2. That pulls them both off of the leader, Kennington, when Boyer was closer than he had been in quite a while for the lead. But nobody able to make anything happen there.
Starting to see up at the front these four stabilize at around an even gap between as the three behind Kennington decide to all hit pit road at the same time.
So here comes the undercut for the 4:19.48. They're going to try to take advantage of it. We saw a little bit over a second per lap of tire fall off there for our leaders, and Boyer brings it down the pits. Kennington stays out, as do the two Ganassi teammates, the 42 and the 01 of Stewart and Kurt Busch. Most of the top 10 did bring it down pit road that time. And now you see Stewart and Kurt Busch are going to pit in, but again, Kennington playing the long game here, which I don't exactly disagree with. Could benefit him on the longer run. This race has been green all the way through so far. So Kennington going to try to play it just a little bit long. No draft help out behind as a result. And this time through on lap number 30, Kennington will hit the pits as he brings it down below the white line in turns 3 and 4. Check to see our race off of pit road, as it was Clint Boyer leading that group, and a nice pit stop for him. Johnson, a fairly good one, not the stop that Carl Edwards would have been hoping for, as he gets held by traffic leaving pit road and drops behind the other two who are a member of that breakaway top four. Boyer trying to pull the undercut on Kennington. Let's see how it works out for him. Kennington, of course, still on pit road. Long pit lane here at Vegas. 4 tires and fuel for Kennington. We'll have a clean pit lane as he works on getting rubber on that car. And the 81 crew, a nice clean pit stop. Kennington is away. And we wait to see how Boyer works out here leaving pit road. There is the 4 car. Jeff Gordon as well went long in the pits. Here comes Boyer out of turn 2. Kennington on the bottom. Boyer around the outside. And he's going to make it happen with the undercut. New race leader, Clint Boyer, with a beautiful pit stop, and the undercut works out for him, and Morgan McClure's number 4 takes over at the top of the table here in Vegas. Jimmy Johnson around the outside of Kennington, and he takes over second place, but not a lot of time lost for Kennington, and he's going to have a couple lap fresher tires here versus our 2 leaders.
Yeah, I mean, I think this worked out pretty well for Kennington. He knew he was probably going to lose.
Oh, and Johnson
the lead
has a
doing
tire going down. Issues for the 48, and he's going to have to bring it down pit road a second time, as they did not get one of those tires on right.
Yeah, likely some sort of loose wheel issue here for Johnson, as that is going to kill his race. If a caution doesn't come out at just the right time, that is brutal for the 48 team. Could not have that happen.
Just a couple of laps after that pit cycle, and he hits pit road from the top 2. Absolutely disastrous break for the 48, who has really not had the right end of the stick on luck quite a few times in recent memory. Maybe it's your get back for Motegi after winning that race on fuel strategy, so he hits pit road. That gives Clint Boyer a comfortable lead, but no traffic between him and DJ Kennington, who's now on multiple lap fresher tires, in second. Third is still Edwards, who just ran his best lap of the race that last time by. And behind that, Brad Coleman's number 6, a nice pit stop, and Robbie Gordon enters the top 5 in the 13. Johnson rejoins the racetrack in that 48 car. Pretty short stop. He is a lap down. Is currently the only car a lap down, though that might change and will change eventually when TJ Bell is forced to bring it in for his second pit stop of the race after coming in for that damage repair earlier in the going. Kurt Busch just took away the fastest lap of the race a couple of laps ago. It was previously held by our current leader, Clint Boyer. So nice pace out of the 2 Ganassi teammates as Kurt Busch and Tony Stewart still sit P6 and P7. Shane Meal moves into the top 10 in the 47, and Ambrose continuing his fairly strong run in today's race. He is in the 9th spot. And rounding out the top 10 is Todd Cleaver in the 98, who was our only surprise strong qualifying run today. Well, we say surprise, it's been a pretty strong season for him and a strong year and a half so far for that 98 car in recent memory, and Cleaver once again finds himself in the top 10 tonight.
I've been so impressed with Todd Cleaver ever since he's joined the Cup Series for Aikens. That kid has been mighty impressive. And this year, especially at the end of last year, but this year as well, just really trying to move Aikens forward slowly as a race team. You know, this is not one that you're going to expect to fight for wins, but more often than not.
Hate to cut you off. Problems for AJ Allmendinger as he's got an engine going out, and that is exactly the caution that Jimmy Johnson needed. And Allmendinger with some engine trouble, and he is going to take an early exit from today's race. It is a rough season gone even worse for the 83 team. That is not what that team wanted to see here tonight. First caution here in Vegas, and Clint Boyer leads the field under our first yellow flag tonight. He will lead everybody down pit road once again as the field checks back up here, bringing it down pit road on lap number 39. Clint Boyer to hit the pit lane from P1. Boyer, Kennington, Edwards, Lopez, then Kurt Busch are your top 5. And here comes the pit stop for the 4 car. DJ Kennington right behind him. Very good pit stop for DJ Kennington, trying to challenge Boyer for the lead off of pit road, but he cannot make it happen. Edwards had to hold for traffic, and Boyer wins the race off of pit road. So the 4 holds the early lead, and good news for him is this now puts him on the same tires as the 81 of Kennington. It's lap number 40 here from Las Vegas, the UAW Dodge 400. It's NASCAR and ESPN. We're going to take an intermission, be right back, and you won't miss a thing. Back from intermission here at Vegas as we get set to go green this next time by. Clint Boyer in the number 4, your leader after that undercut on our first green flag cycle, and now holding the lead over DJ Kennington in the 81, who will restart in the 2nd position. 3rd place belonging to Brad Coleman in the 6th. 4th is Robbie Gordon, and 5th place goes to Carl Edwards in the number 19 when we take the restart on lap number 43. AJ Allmendinger out of the race with engine trouble. He is your first and only DNF so far. Everybody still on the lead lap here in Vegas as Jimmy Johnson gets the free pass under that last caution flag as we get set to go. Just under a third of the way into it here in Vegas. Pace car peels off on the left as Boyer in the 4 will take us to the green flag. Into the restart box. Green flag is in the air. A couple of cars jumping out of line early. Coleman in the 6 trying to make something happen off of the start. He goes to the outside, but instead Robbie Gordon will find his way under him in turn number 1. Can he make anything happen? Not quite. Can't keep the throttle pinned. Kennington up the back bumper of Boyer. Little bit better exit by that 4 car down the back stretch as he leads us into turn 3. Side by side further back, Kurt Busch ends up on the wrong end of history. He's on the outside. Shane Meal continuing his charge forward in this race. Tony Stewart Kurt Busch's teammate, he's going to follow through on the bottom. Another Ford, that's Lopez in the number 99, trying to find his way to the bottom of the 01. Stephen Light looking to enter the top 10. As well as Todd Cleaver, who checks under the 18. Big run on the outside by Kurt Busch to stay in front of the 99 there. A lot of battling in the midfield. Coleman had a run on Kennington, tried to take it to the bottom in turn 1, didn't quite have the space to do it. Boyer continuing to hold a narrow lead over the 81 down the backstretch. Boyer, Kennington, Coleman, Robbie Gordon, Carl Edwards. Your top 5. All under a blanket. Shane Meal not far behind in 6th. Kennington, a big run coming out of turn 2 down the backstretch is now his chance to take over the lead. Not, oh, he is going to do it. Dive down to the bottom in turn 3. Boyer trying to power around the outside. Can't quite keep him at bay, side by side for the race lead out of turn 4. Dead heat at the line. Boyer still had the lead at the stripe that time by. But this time through turns 1 and 2, DJ Kennington right back into the race lead.
Boyer has to be careful here, because here comes Robbie Gordon from nearly Carl Edwards. Oh my goodness, that was a bit of an aggressive move there from the 19 to try to get under Robbie Gordon. Had to think better of that.
It is a pack of hounds behind the 4 of Boyer, who suddenly finds himself on the outside of a 7 or so car train on the bottom. Stewart, Kurt Busch, Lopez, Coleman, all finding their way up towards the top of the table. Ambrose and the 98 of Todd Cleaver also entering the mix further back, as Boyer fighting for his life on the outside and dropping like a rock. Battle for P2. Carl Edwards now finds his way to the bottom versus Robbie Gordon trying to find some grip on the outside, but he's not going to be able to hold off the 19. It's once again a Gibbs 1-2 as Kennington and Edwards sit first and second place now.
Kennington's gotten very far out there, and here comes Meal continuing that charge to the front, passing his teammate in the 13.
But a beautiful run by Robbie Gordon on the outside coming out of 4. Can he hold his teammate at bay? He can, as he clears him into turn 1. Shane Meal still in the top 5. He's 4th. He's gotten the best lap of the race so far. That is a 29.869. And Tony Stewart rounds out the top 5 behind him. What a run for the two innovative teammates. Lopez entering the top 10, of course, further back. He's 7th. 8th, Coleman, his teammate, as Boyer continues to struggle to find a way down to the bottom. Don't look now, Matt Kenseth has found some strength in the mid-portion of this race. Montoya as well with his teammate Elliott Sadler. Look out as the 31 takes a look to the bottom side. He gets underneath of Matt Kenseth. The 98 of Cleaver forced wide by Elliott Sadler to the inside lane. As this race continues,
there's been some very good racing around that top 10 area throughout this race. Definitely a lot racier than last season as this pavement tries to wear out a little more over the course of a few years. But definitely a lot racier today, not only just there, but throughout most of the pack than we saw last year.
yeah, just seeing the slickness brought on by the sunlight and this Vegas heat that has allowed this field to work a little bit harder, make some more passes. Clint Boyer really pushing the issue on Elliott Sadler there. That's for the 11th spot, but not quite able to find a gap to the bottom. But up towards the top of the table, Shane Meal has taken over versus Robbie Gordon. He's got 3rd. Tony Stewart followed him into 4th. The 13 drops down into the 5th position as Carl Edwards is looking to try and run his teammate down for the lead. Stewart giving a look on Shane Meal for the third spot, but can't quite get there to the back bumper of the Waffle House Chevrolet. Still the two Gibbs teammates who have been the best cars in the field tonight. Kennington able to hold this lead over his teammate Edwards, but for how long? The 19 has looked like he's been maybe a touch faster over the last couple of laps. Lap number 55 of 134 here from the UAW Dodge 400. This top five all still very much with a lot of speed. Edwards trying to close the gap just a couple hundredths at a time. Field is single filed out now. So that sort of restart phase finally coming to an end. But quite a few cars under a blanket all the way back to Lopez in the 99, who's about 8th. Is the train up front, who are all within the draft of each other. Less of a breakaway than we saw last time. It was the top 4 who got away from the rest of the field. Kurt Busch underneath of Robbie Gordon and try to get into the top 5. And coming out of turn 4, he's going to make that happen. Robbie Gordon again trying to fight around that top side, but not quite able to hang tough with the 01. Kurt Busch takes over the 5th spot. How about Lopez rocketing past Robbie Gordon? He's into 6th. Gordon up in the marbles on the outside lane. Drops way off. He's down to 7th now. Marcos Ambrose in the 5. In the 8th position joins the fray as well. Edwards in the 19, closing the gap on his teammate Kennington for the lead. This is the closest he's been on this run so far.
As this run continues to go on and we start to think closer to the end of this race, you start to think about who has the fastest cars out here, and I think the 19, as he goes for the lead, that car has looked consistently really good over the course of this run. Whatever adjustments they made on their pit stop have paid dividends, because they were short run strong at the very start but fell off quickly, and now over the course of this one have rocketed to the front.
Yeah, looking like that 19 is handling a lot better on the older tires over the course of this run. Don't look now. Shane Meal joins the fray in the 47. We've seen over the course of this race that battling side by side has really cost guys a lot of time on the racetrack. It really takes their line away at this place pretty hard, and these guys bring the rest of the top 5 into the mix as Shane Meal joins the party. He's going to look to get underneath of Kennington for second, and will. Down the front stretch, Edwards into the lead once again. Shane Meal under Kennington for P2. Tony Stewart and Kurt Busch, the two Ganassi teammates. It's 3 Chevrolets followed by 3 Fords. As it's Stewart, Kurt Busch, then Rogelio Lopez in the 99. Shane Meal really hard there down into turn 3. Kennington trying to drive it around the top. Can't quite hang it up there. Big help out back for Shane Meal, but Kennington with the power around the outside. You saw how loose they both got in 3, getting close to each other for that runner-up position. And that allows Kennington to hold the second spot. Shane Meal very nearly made contact with him on entrance to 3. And that brings Tony Stewart up to the back bumper of Shane Meal for the 3rd spot.
Almost looks like the 47 slid his tires a little bit and is trying to get him back down to temperature. 47 got in there really deep and very nearly took out both him and the 81.
Yeah, and he kind of had to, what with the way that Kennington was pulling away down the backstretch, with a chance to clear him down into turn 3 if he wanted any chance to take away that second spot, but didn't quite work out for him. Now he's under fire from Tony Stewart, who's going to play a little bit patient here versus the 47 for the 3rd position. Still the two Gibbs teammates at the top of the table. Edwards, then Kennington now. Closing in on halfway in this race. Halfway here from Vegas, it's the UAW Dodge 400 here on NASCAR on ESPN. We're going to shut our traps and let you listen to some engines and nothing more. It's Crank It Up on NASCAR and ESPN. That was the McDonald's visor cam on board Carl Edwards in the 19, as the top three are all going to elect to come down pit road at exactly the same time. Two Gibbs teammates and Shane Meal.
Believe the first car to stay out was Marcos Ambrose in the 5.
And you would be correct.
It looks like he's really out there all by himself, so I'd expect to see him come in this time. And that is exactly what we do see.
Do believe there were plenty of pitters before our top three all came in there. Quite a lot of the top 10 came in before they did. So no undercut for any of the leaders this time. Shane Meal, a nice pit stop side by side with DJ Kennington. Meanwhile, Edwards leaving the pits in front of his teammate and the 47. A really close race off of pit road. They're all going to leave the same order they came in from the looks of things. Shane Meal trying to get to the outside, find some grip off of the pits. It is a battle back to the throttle off of the apron, and here comes Tony Stewart on the undercut. Can he pass all three of them on the outside? Look at this run by Tony Stewart on the fresh tires and the warm tires, closing in on Edwards for the lead. The 19 blocking him all the way down to the white line, and here comes Tony Stewart.
Yeah, and if you're Edwards, you got to be really careful not to get stuck too far up there.
How about Shane Meal on the bottom?
Meal rockets out of turn 2 and is going to pass them both. What a move.
Absolutely beautiful move by the 47 car as he takes over what should be net P2. And it
There's
is.
that aggression from Shane Meal that we like to see. That was gutsy, but my goodness. One of the moves of the year right there.
Searching for his first career Cup win as he takes over the second spot. Edwards third, Kennington fourth. A very nice pit stop for Ambrose, who is fighting for a top 5 spot right now. Justin Allgaier out of nowhere into the top 10.
Must have been a tremendous pit stop for the 84 of Allgaier, who looks like he's about to get the 6th position. And a much needed good day for this 84 team, who have been a little slow out of the gate. Just a young driver trying to adjust to Cup racing, but a hugely needed day for the 84 team.
As a recovery in a big, big way. Battle for the lead starting to heat up just a little bit. Tony Stewart in P1, but Shane Meal, couple lap fresher tires, and with that beautiful move into P2, as we are past halfway now in this race, has closed the gap to Tony Stewart and is starting to knock on the door for P1. Here he comes. Down on the inside, Shane Meal, trying to drive it all the way to the white line. Drove it into turn 3. Stewart on the outside. No defense from the 42. Trying to drive that right on the outside lane. Can he hold it? Shane Meal down on the bottom. This time through turn 1, he's got it. New leader, Shane Meal, as Carl Edwards follows through to P2.
Edwards did a tremendous job there in turn 2, getting underneath the 42 quickly to give himself a chance at Meal here. He dove it in. These guys are just so racy on the fresh tires.
Shane Meal back to the lead. Carl Edwards now to second place. Can he close in, try to maybe retake that top spot? First laps led of the race for the 47. Seeking that first win. Edwards right behind him. Stewart and Kennington still deadlocked for P3. Stewart, a beautiful move on the outside to hold off that 81 for the third spot, but the top 2 have broken away. Carl Edwards taking a look down the front stretch. Shane Meal blocking him all the way to the white line. Down into turn 1. Shane driving it in, but Carl Edwards painting the white line, and the 19 down on the bottom in 1 and 2. He's going to retake the race lead. What a race for the top spot here in Vegas. Don't look now, but Shane Meal with a nice exit coming out of turn 4, and he's going to run right back down to the bottom. Once again, they're side by side for the lead down into turn 1. And Shane Meal's got it made. The 47 retakes the race lead. Here comes Tony Stewart for the second spot. Stewart to P2 and Kennington to P3. Lap car in front of the leaders, that's Dexter Bean in the 15.
How about this kid, man? Shane Meal has had some moments of brilliance this year. Mired with a little bit of inconsistency out the gate, but you can't deny the talent and you can't deny the speed. This kid looking antsy for that first win.
Best shot he's had pretty much all season. Running with the big boys. Tony Stewart, DJ Kennington, Carl Edwards. 2 of them are Cup champions. Robbie Gordon, who's also in the top 5 a couple of seconds back, he is a Cup Series champion as well. Edwards, a multiple-time Cup winner, one of the veterans of the sport. Kennington and Edwards getting around the 15. The top 2 already past Dexter Bean. Here comes Tony Stewart. Couple lap older tires for this 42, as we mentioned. He went with the undercut, but still has a lot of speed in that 42 machine and is right on the back bumper of the 47. Little bit better out of turn 4. He's going to go to the bottom. Battle for the lead once again heating up. Stewart down on the inside. Shane Meal can't keep the throttle pinned on the top. Tony Stewart, new race leader. Edwards and Kennington right up the back bumper of the 47, out of turn 2, down the back stretch. Does Kennington have a move for P2? He's going to play it a little patient with his fellow Chevrolet as Shane Meal tries to recover from losing the top spot to Stewart. Just a tiny run by Shane Meal, but an even better one by Kennington. Does he take it to the inside for second? He will. But Shane Meal, nice drive into turn 1, holds him off. Now he sets his sights on Stewart for P1. Kennington had to breathe the throttle. That gives Shane Meal a little bit of space to try and work over Stewart through turns 3 and 4. But a very nice exit by Stewart keeps him at bay, and that puts Kennington right back in the mix to try to take back second.
Taking a look, but just couldn't quite get there. That time, Kennington had to get out of the gas.
Once again, a little bit more space for the 47. Big run coming out of turn 4, down to the bottom. He's going to take a look while Edwards looks for P3. Down to the bottom once again, side by side for the lead.
See if Meal can get this done quickly. He does get the move done. Really didn't want to get hung up by the 42 there. Great job by this 47 to retake the lead, and the 81 of Kennington trying to follow him through.
What a battle by the top 4. Kennington to second. His teammate Edwards trying to follow through in P3. He will. Stewart back down to 4th. Kennington with a monster entry in to turn 3. Can he get back up to the back bumper as Shane Meal? He will. What a corner by DJ Kennington. And here he comes on the bottom for the race lead down into turn 1.
Meal couldn't quite hang on the outside. A great job from Kennington to get that move done in turn 2. And here comes Edwards.
Kennington taking his teammate with him. Edwards on the bottom. Side by side with Shane Meal. He takes over P2. Stewart looking for 3rd. Can't quite get there. Shane Meal holds on to that 3rd spot. Edwards with a monster run versus his teammate. Does he find the space on the bottom in 1? Takes a look. Nearly contact. Kennington slams the door. The 81 holds the lead.
Edwards really had to flip the throttle to make sure he didn't crash with his teammate. But Kennington holds serve for the moment.
But what a 3 and 4 by the 19 this time as he closes right back up on his teammate. Does he have the speed to take it to the bottom in 1 this time? He's going to try it again. But Kennington again, a well-placed race car to hold on to that top spot into turn 1 and through 2. Kennington again, trying to defend from Edwards, who's been really good on this end of the racetrack. Again, he's going to go to the bottom. Kennington cannot cover that inside line this time, and here comes Carl Edwards on the bottom in turn 1.
Side by side this time. These two are going to be side by side down the back stretch, and Edwards in the try to stay on that inside. But Kennington, a great job on the outside to keep the lead.
Unbelievable defense by that 81 car, but Edwards is still knocking on the door out of turn 4. Shane Meal behind in 30's got an even bigger run than that. He's going to take a look down to the bottom for P2, but he can't get there. Stewart still lurking in 4th. What a race for this lead.
Man, what a treat that we have been given here in Las Vegas. This repave does not disappoint, now does it?
Absolutely not. Side by side for P2. Shane Meal down on the bottom versus Edwards. He's going to take over the runner-up spot as Edwards couldn't get the move done for the lead. Stewart maybe going to take a look for third. Lap traffic ahead for our leaders. Shane Meal is second. Tony Stewart taking over P3 as they drop a long way off. A beautiful lap and a half by Kennington to pull away just a little bit. Starting to sniff the draft of the lap cars up in front. And it took Shane Meal quite a long time to dispatch of Edwards for the second spot, which cost him a lot of time on the older tires. We're getting close to the end of this run. There should be 2 pit stops left to go. With about a 30-lap run or so on these tires and fuel, 42 coming to 41 laps left, could be on the nose. As that battle for the lead finally calms down just a little bit. Kennington trying to hold off Shane Meal, but the 47 is closing in a hurry. Traffic ahead, 4 of them. The 36, the 1 of Justin Labonte, TJ Bell, and Travis Quapple are the lap cars up the road for the leaders. 40 laps to go in Vegas. Not a spot that Kennington wants to be in. The 36 and 1 side by side in front of him. He'll follow Justin Labonte's number 1 down to the bottom. That opens the door for Shane Meal to close in.
Yeah, but Meal has to be able to take advantage of it in all of this traffic. He not get stuck up on the outside like he's about to.
Kennington down on the bottom past the 36. That's Reed Sorensen. Stuart Edwards into the mix. How about Kurt Busch and Robbie Gordon's 13 who have closed into the mix up behind? These top 4 have been battling so much that the rest of the top 10 are starting to close on our race leaders. Stewart hung up on Reed Sorensen. First pitter, that's the 84 of Justin Allgaier. The 04 follows, and suddenly we still have 2 pit stops left to go, and the first of those 2 is on the horizon.
Goodness.
What a block by DJ Kennington!
The 81 blocked the 47 onto the apron there. That was nearly a crash and sent the 81 spinning into the infield.
Stewart again with the undercut. He hit pit road that last time. Shane Meal is going to do so as well. Edwards, Robbie Gordon in. Kurt Busch and DJ Kennington stay on the racetrack.
And I like this for the guys behind Kennington. I mean, you got to give yourself an opportunity to get ahead of this 81 coming out of pit road and then hope to keep it. I think just following him into the pits isn't necessarily going to work in their favor.
Kennington will hit pit road this time. Lap cars get in front of him. That's going to cost him a little bit of time here. Tires and fuel going on for Carl Edwards in the 19. Shane Meal already out and away from his pit box as he closes on the 19 of Edwards. Nice pit stop for the 19.
Ahead of him.
But Shane Meal will get out in front of the 19 on the apron in 1 and 2. Robbie Gordon, not quite the stop he would have hoped for. Ambrose in the 5 has once again gone long. There you see Tony Stewart with the undercut. He's able to pull away and get in front of Shane Meal by quite a long way. Let's see how the 81 of Kennington does off of pit road. What a pit stop for Elliott Sadler. Kurt Busch not off on the right foot. And Tony Stewart once again pulls the undercut, and the 42 is going to retake the race lead, and this time by even further. Not the pit stop that Kennington would have wanted. He's all the way down behind his teammate Edwards.
He is going to have those lap pressure tires, but it hasn't seemed to matter throughout the course of this race.
How about these Childress crews? This is Montoya on the lead lap. He enters the top 5.
Yeah, and we haven't spoken about Montoya all day long. That was a huge pit stop for the 31 crew.
Shane Meal and Tony Stewart for what is the net lead. They're behind Travis Quapple, the 49 car, who is lapped in front of them. Stewart to the bottom. Shane Meal gonna have to follow him on the inside. Kinda got stuck up in the wake of the 42 just a little bit. He can't get the nose down underneath. Man, that was close. Ooh. Here comes Montoya.
And that was disastrous for that 47 of Meal. Could not have that happen and get stuck behind the lap car. He will slot back into third, but he went from potentially taking the lead to all the way back in third.
Where in the world did this 31 car come from? Juan Pablo Montoya past Quapple. He's into P2.
Seems like this 31 has just been silently getting better on the adjustments and gave themselves an opportunity with the track position. Sometimes all you need is an opportunity, and they're taking advantage of it.
31 laps to go at the line. One more pit stop, probably for 2 tires left on the horizon. Stewart the leader, Montoya, then Shane Meal, Carl Edwards in 4th, Kennington in P5. Casey Mears, of all people, has also entered the top 10. He's in 8th. What an equalizer the pit stops have been for Childress tonight. Both of their cars now in the top 10. And Montoya trying to close on Tony Stewart for the race lead. Edwards clear of traffic in 4th. Kennington working over Travis Quapple in P5. He gets past him. Clean track for the 2 Gibbs teammates as they try to come off of those bad pit stops and close in on the top 3. Montoya closer than he has been this entire run. Can he find his way to the lead for the first time tonight?
Just letting the 42 know he's there. Trying to put the pressure on. That 31 definitely looking the fastest he's looked all race, but that time got off of turn 4 pretty poorly. Opportunity here maybe for Meal to throw it up the inside. Not quite close enough.
Couldn't quite get the nose underneath. Montoya stays on in P2 after getting off the back foot, leaving turn 4, trying to close in on Tony Stewart. 2 men who came from open wheel at the front of the field, and Shane Meal right behind them as well. Edwards 4, still Kennington P5. Behind that, P6 currently belongs to Robbie Gordon. Matt Kenseth has come alive late in this race. Traffic ahead. David Reagan in the 37. Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s number 88. Here comes Stewart on the 37 coming out of turn 2. Lost a little bit of time in the wake there. That allows Montoya to close, and he's going to drive underneath as well. A beautiful entry. Don't look now. Here comes Juan Pablo Montoya out of turn 4. He's going to take it to the bottom. Side by side for the race lead, and for the first time today here in Vegas, Juan Pablo Montoya is your race leader.
Something has woken up in Juan Pablo Montoya today. What a run for the past 10 laps or so. Just catching and passing some of the dominant cars of the race. And we hadn't even talked about him before this run.
Juan Pablo Montoya has never won on a standard oval. Is today the day he gets it done? 24 coming to just 23 laps remaining, and he's running away from the 42 car.
He's got to make sure he gets past this 88 of Dale Jr. first, but he's going to get stuck behind him.
Here comes Stewart. Montoya a little sideways coming out of turn 2. The 42 closing the gap. Not close enough to make a move in turn 3. And don't look now, the two Gibbs teammates of Edwards and Kennington have closed right back up into the race they've controlled all day.
And this is going to be
Stewart looking to the bottom, Montoya having to block. Here comes the 42 to the inside. But Montoya trying to hang tough on the top, side by side, and he might clear him into 3. Stewart still on the bottom. Can he drive it in on corner entry? Not quite. Montoya holds the lead.
Wow, what a run for Montoya on the outside. But all of these guys are still stuck behind the lap car, Dale Jr.
Edwards and Kennington have closed all the way in. The 19 looking at the bottom for P3 versus Shane Meal. He can't quite find the gap. Again, Montoya able to pull away just a little bit, but he gets stuck behind Dale Jr. for another set of corners. Stuck in the wake. Again, a run by Stewart down the front straightaway. Can Montoya block him down to the white line? He's going to try it. Here comes Shane Meal. Almost down to the inside. Nearly contact between the top two. Montoya still holds the lead. Stewart sideways out of 2. Montoya runs away from him. Shane Meal to the back bumper for P2. Meal pushes wide. Here comes Carl Edwards for 3rd place. Montoya still can't dispatch of the 88 car.
Yeah, NASCAR is likely to get upset with the 88 at this point. He is not yielding for the leaders. Every time they catch him, he just keeps them behind, and eventually they're going to have to tell him to move over.
Montoya again faster than Junior out of turn 4. The top 5 stay single file behind. Edwards took a look. Couldn't quite make anything happen. Again, Montoya can't get underneath Junior in turn 1. Man, he got sideways.
Got really stuck in the wake there and had to make sure to lift out of the gas and not push wide. But still not able to do anything with this 88.
Down the front stretch, Stewart with a big run on Montoya. Down the front, can the 31 get underneath of the 88 into 1 this time? No. Stewart takes a look down to the bottom for the lead. He can't get past. Edwards and Kennington, the two Gibbs teammates, side by side for 3rd. Kennington takes over that spot. Montoya trying to block the bottom versus Tony Stewart. Kennington sideways. Shane Meal looking for P4. Stewart again trying to take a look to the bottom in one. He still can't find the nose. Kennington up to the back bumper of Tony Stewart for second after Stewart got tight coming out of turn 2. Montoya up to the back of Dale Earnhardt Jr. down the back stretch. He's going to try to take it to the inside, but again, Jr. covering him off. Can Montoya get him this time? Now he's got the run down the front stretch, not without pressure. He takes it to the bottom. Kennington looking underneath the Tony Stewart. There's almost contact. Stewart ends up stuck behind the 88. How about DJ Kennington on the bottom using Junior as a pick?
And man, Stewart is not going to be happy about that.
Kennington on the freshest tires of the top 5 into second place. Montoya still with the lead. One more pit stop left on the horizon with 13 laps to go. Montoya trying to hold DJ Kennington at bay. The 81, one of the 2 early dominant cars, has struggled a little bit on the pit stops, but he's found his way back into it. Edwards fighting Shane Meal for third. The top 2 running away, and here comes DJ Kennington. No, got a little tight out of turn 2. Montoya holds the top spot. Question is, who blinks first and hits pit road? Issues for the 17 of Kenseth. Tire down for him, but he makes it to pit lane. We stay green. Huge battle for P3 continues as the top 2 have ran away. It's Shane Meal and Edwards side by side for the third spot. They have lost countless seconds of time.
Yeah, and I believe at this point the race for the win with 10 laps to go is going to be between these two. Pit stop or not. I guess it depends on how late these pit stops occur, but we're expecting them likely within the next 5 laps or so. We'll see.
Lap car ahead, the 15 of Dexter Bean. Montoya under fire from DJ Kennington. For the first time since he got there, Montoya blocks him all the way down to the inside. Montoya blocking Kennington for his life with 9 laps to go. And he's going to hit pit road.
Montoya first to pit road, which could net him out in the lead. The question I was going to ask is, depending on when these pit stops do happen, could somebody try and stretch the fuel long enough to make it to the end? But I don't think with 8 laps to go that's going to be an issue.
The question is if you can go long enough to take no tires. The first few on pit road have taken rubber. Kennington has not yet pit. The rest pit except for Shane Meal. That's the entirety of the rest of the top 5 who bring it down pit road with 8 to go. Kennington across the line with 7 laps left. This is what we've seen the 81 do a few times, gone a little longer. He will hit pit road this time by with 7 laps remaining. So will Shane Meal. Kurt Busch and Clint Boyer also in pit road. Same for Elliott Sadler. Again, we see Ambrose going long. Him and Biffle are both on the lead lap still. They stay out. Kennington hits pit road. Does he beat everybody else off of pit road? And do these guys take no tires? Everybody who has hit the pit lane so far still has taken rubber. And it will be 2 tires for Kennington. So now the question is if Montoya beats him out of the pits. Clean stop for Kennington. The race off of the pit lane for the 81. Where is the 31 of Montoya? Didn't look like he had the pit stop he wanted. Kennington off of turn 2. He's got the lead. Can Montoya get there? He was racing with Robbie Gordon in the 13.
Gaining, but not gaining enough. He will have 5 laps to reel this 81 and pass him. Does he have enough time?
Kennington in the lead with now 5 laps to go. They should be in the lead for good. McMurray, the only car that is yet to make a pit stop, and he is already on pit lane. Lap car in front is Dexter Bean. 4 cars with a chance to settle it, though maybe only 2 of them with a chance. Montoya, a monster run out of 4. Can he make it a challenge with 4 to go?
This should be where this 81 is starting to get those tires up to temperature. So it should be an even scrap here. Although don't count out Robbie Gordon in that 13 either.
Dexter Bean up the road. Kennington trying to get under him, but he's not close enough. It's Montoya up to the back bumper of the 81, coming to 3 laps left. Kennington to the inside of the 15. Here comes Montoya. Don't look now, Robbie Gordon in the mix, but look at this run by Montoya out of turn 2. Can't quite get there. Kennington holding the lead.
And now he's got to play defense from this 13 of Robbie Gordon behind, who's got a monster run.
Montoya with the block. Robbie Gordon trying to take it to the inside in 1. Can he get there? No. 2 laps to go for DJ Kennington, but can Montoya reel him back in?
Had to get out of the gas there. More time game for this 81. I think that's game, set, match. Gonna have to have a great 3 and 4 here.
Kennington running away out of turn 4. White flag waves one more time around in Vegas. Robbie Gordon can't get the runner-up spot. 0.3 of a second and gaining down the backstretch. Kennington down into turn 3 for the final time. That will plenty do it. What a race and what a victory. DJ Kennington gets his 2nd win of 2009 in a wild one in Vegas.
What a race that we were treated to today, and what a race for DJ Kennington. One of the fastest cars of the race, one of the fastest 2 or 3 for sure. And it ends in a victory for the 81 crew, and so close for Montoya for that first standard oval win. Gonna have to work a little bit harder, but he gave it his all, and that 31 went from being silent the whole day to a great runner-up finish. 13 of Robbie Gordon out of nowhere to finish 3rd. Edwards with a solid 4th, and I believe that's Shane Meal in 5th.
What a race to the end of it here in Vegas, and DJ Kennington with the long game at the end is able to best Juan Pablo Montoya, who it is triumph and heartbreak here in Vegas. As DJ Kennington grabs another win, Montoya couldn't quite make the undercut work with the traffic entering pit lane, and he will come up just shy. Robbie Gordon in third, Edwards fourth, and Shane Meal rounds out your top five after a thriller of a race here in Vegas. Next time out, we continue our West Coast swing, as it will be the Auto Club 500 from California. But I've been your host, Ken Reif. On behalf of Nate joining me in the booth here tonight, it's been a pleasure to have you along. As always, we'll see you next time, and have yourself a good one.